What is happening at J Gaming Dude here, and I have just recently platinumed Need for Speed Rivals on PS3. And I think this is the first time I'm doing a post-platinum review of a game on the PS3. So, I'm going to give it the honors there. Clap, 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 clap. Alright, so I'm just going to show my gaming credentials as I normally do. So I'm just going to hop back to the trophy list, I guess, in this case, because I can't just exit out and show you. But Need for Speed Rivals right then and there. From the 29th of September to the 19th of October. It took me about 2.5 weeks. That being said, though, you don't really have much time to, what's the word? You don't really have time to play when you've got, like work and it takes so much time and everything else in between. So, I'm going to try and get through this with as much sanity as I can. And I'm going to switch to the cop career because God forbid I ever want to play the racer career again. But basically, just to kind of give you guys an idea. So, the entirety of Need for Speed Rivals is basically that it's a racing game. Yay, I bet you kind of figured that because it's a Need for Speed game. But more importantly, Need for Speed Rivals, the unique twist that they've got going on here is that you can play as both a cop and a racer, and so as a result, the actual campaign itself is very much reflective of that. So basically, you can just play both as a cop and as a racer in the game. And so basically, what are the differences? Well, basically, as a cop, you can go around and shut down other races, absolutely abuse them on the track, and just, absolutely spam your pursuit tech to take them down. Also, some of the pursuit tech that you do have here is fairly unique. Stuff like bringing out the helicopter, for example, which I've just done here, or the access to things like spike strips, for example. So there you can just start a pursuit and just chase down your prey, which is all well and good and fairly unique and whatever have you. And of course, as a racer, you're racing around while trying to avoid getting caught by the police. So the main thing that you're trying to do is just basically complete races, loose police, or just wreck cops altogether. Basically, that's what you kind of serve to do for the most part in this game. Now, that being said, though, I'm just going to leave this event real quick, and I spun out way too much right there. But, yeah, basically that's the cops and crims part of the game. Now, as you've seen here, this menu here, Easy Drive, basically can take you to nearby locations or take you to races and stuff, but it's largely pretty useless since you're basically better off just using the map on your screen. The problem though is that, hey, when I try to bring up the map, I think you've noticed my car's still moving. This game doesn't pause. So this game cannot be paused because it's supposed to be played as a more social game. Basically, the online elements are a big part of why this game is what it is. And basically, that's the reason why I'm playing the game at the moment, is because the online servers have already been shut down, as you can see from the message earlier on when I was playing the game. Now, that being said, though, I absolutely hate this game. I do not like it. So while I like certain aspects of it, like say for example the fact that you can play as both cops and racers, or things like that the game actually looks pretty good despite the fact that it's on the PS3 and that it came out back in 2014, or the fact that they have a good variety of vehicles, for example, like, you got the Bugatti Veyron, the Koenigsegg Agera R, the Hennessy Venom G, like, you've got a lot of like really cool stuff. Wait, what's this one? Unlocked at assignment 1. Oh, it's because I haven't done assignment 1 yet. That's very funny. So basically, in order to get the platinum for the game, you need to reach level 60. As you can see, the badge on the top right, that's blue, that shows that I am level 60. And the only one that I didn't do was this Enforcer level 1. Otherwise, there are like, because you start off at level 1, you can't start off at level 0, and so that's why you can basically do all of the speed lists in the game and not actually hit go over 60. But actually, that's a good point. So the career is basically set up like this. These things are called speed lists. So basically, a single list of a group of tasks you need to do in order to level up. You can earn a certain amount of SP, do any number of races. So, like, say for example, with cops, they have access to races like a rapid response. What else do they have? We've got rapid responses, we've got hot pursuits, and we've got interceptors. Sorry, and those are the types you have to do. Rapid responses are basically get from the start to the finish while hitting the sides as little as possible, like without getting into any crashes, without impacting anything. Sometimes you can lightly touch things, but if it doesn't count as an impact, it won't add to your time. Hot pursuits are basically there are a bunch of people racing, knock them all out, like actually take them all down. And interceptors is just basically a one-on-one. You shut down the one racer and you've won. Now, I think out of all of these, I hate and absolutely despise rapid responses. I think the hot pursuits are a lot of fun, especially when you have access to the helicopter. Interceptors can also be fun because you're basically just taking down opponents through more aggressive means as opposed to something like, racing. Whereas with rapid responses, because you have to, it's a time trial mode where the less the more you crash, the more your time goes up. And the thing is that the handling in this game, I do not like the way that, the cars handle in this game. They're absolutely awful. Like, it feels like I'm just always slipping and sliding all over the place. Now, on the racer side, on the other hand, we've got access to races as events, time trials, hot pursuits, and interceptors. Now, for myself personally, I don't like races and I don't like hot pursuits. And the reason why is because basically a race and a hot pursuit are exactly the same thing, except that with hot pursuits, you have police on you at all times. Time trials are actually a lot better compared to rapid responses as a cop, because at least I don't get ducked in terms of time if I crash into something or if I hit a barrier too hard for some reason. And my personal favorite event in the entire game is when you're doing interceptors as a racer, because basically you have to escape the cop, but the thing is that you could just take down the one cop that is chasing you and you're guaranteed to get that gold if you can do it in under 2 minutes. So if you make good use of your pursuit tech, you can really do that well. And as far as pursuit tech that's unique to the racer, we've got stuff like the jammer, we've got jammer and stun mine and turbo, I think, are the unique ones here. That being said, though, I basically just spent this whole time explaining the game and not explaining what I like or dislike about the game, because I kind of explained some of the stuff that I like, but like I said, I absolutely despise this game because the racer career absolutely sucks. What you have to do is you need to complete tasks and then come back to your garage. But the problem is that if your car gets totaled or you get busted by the police, you're going to lose all the progress you made prior to the last time that you reached the garage. So basically, there's a risk versus reward aspect there, and I despise that element of the racer career. In addition to that, like I said, there are some types of events that I like, some that I don't. And of course, handling this game feels like I'm driving on ice at all times, and I really don't like that. On top of which, rubber banding in this game is insane because since the racers have access to something called turbo, racers can just drive off into the sunset and leave you in the dust while you have to contend with these like turns, and it almost feels like the racers just ended up driving through a straight road rather than having to go through a turn like you have to. They just speed through the turn like it's absolutely nothing. It really is astonishing at how bad the game is, in my opinion, when it comes to certain aspects like that. Also, speed lists. I don't know, you'll probably not have noticed because I didn't show you too many speed lists. But yeah, each time you do a list, that's when you go up one level. And you do need to return to your hideout or your base slash command post if you're a cop or a racer in order to level up. My main beef with the game, and one of the biggest problems I have with it is the fact that the game is very, how would I say this, very repetitive. Because as you've noticed, there's only three types of events for cops and four types of events for races, and you're going to be doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Yes, sometimes it will say bronze a hot pursuit, and then the next one might say silver a hot pursuit. But then later on, they're going to say gold or hot pursuit. The thing is that when it comes to the bronze and silver ones, if you do get a gold in an event, you'll still end up completing that anyways because you just basically got a higher tier medal. Nothing special there. That being said, and that is what a crash looks like in this game, it is very easy to go down with a very, very fast vehicle and have basically anything cause a crash. Even if you are within the vicinity of a car, like an NPC vehicle, that you end up hitting the wrong way, that is still considered a crash for some reason. And when you crash once, especially as a cop, you've basically forfeited that entire event because, well, good luck trying to catch up when rubber banding is as bad as it is in this game. But if you hit a NPC car seat, like, it just counted as a crash because you just happen to be driving really fast. And as a racer, normally when you're in an event, you'll spawn back onto the road facing the next checkpoint that you're supposed to be driving through. If a cop hits you while you're in that sort of semi-recovery phase that you're supposed to be respawning, instead what ends up happening is that the you'll just end up it won't even respawn you on the road. Like, you'll just retain control of the vehicle from the basically the way that I was facing before getting hit by the cops. It, like, the game doesn't reset you. Um, it really sucks because it hurts your success in the race in question. So it kind of sucks. In addition to that, uh, for the racer, once you unlock a vehicle, you need to buy that vehicle using SP that you've earned throughout your career. Whereas if you unlock cars as a cop for each level that you go up as per the speed lists, you will just automatically have access to that vehicle and not have to spend more money. That seems a bit different. Why couldn't we just get the cars as racers, or why don't we just buy the cars as cops? Just keep things consistent, at least, if nothing else. So as a whole, basically, I like some events. I like the cop career more than the racer career because the cop career does. It's nowhere near as difficult. There's no risk or reward factor that is detrimental to the game, in my opinion. I like the way the game looks, and I like the variety of vehicles. Unfortunately, I despise the racer career completely because of how races work when it comes to earning SP. The fact that when you crash and get caught, it's just all over and you've lost all progression that you've made except for stuff you do during the speed lists. The speed lists themselves are incredibly repetitive and will require you to do the same multiple tasks over and over and over again. Um, the handling in this game is absolutely awful, especially when you're driving at really high speeds, which the game kind of requires you to do for it being, a Need for Speed game, among other things. I mean, it's in the damn title. In addition to that, the game just feels incredibly bland and boring, largely because there is no story or plot line that's happening necessarily. It really just feels like it just feels very bland because there is supposed to be a story, there is some cutscenes, but there is so little of it that there's no real, like, narrative meat on the bone. Something that I really liked was how, crap, what's it called? Need for Speed. What was the one in 2017? Payback. How Payback presented itself. Yeah, it's not the best game in the world, but at least it presented a story of some kind to some extent. Heat did it a little bit more, but how aggressive the cops were in that game was just absolutely abhorrent. And of course, the higher the heat level, the more aggressive the cops are here as well. And of course, I mean, that's not really much of a complaint. It's just, I guess I'm just not really a fan of the cops when you're a racer as a whole. So, there's a lot to jump into, a lot to bite into, but in terms of actual content, it just feels way too damn repetitive for the most part. But those are kind of my thoughts on the game. I do not like this game. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that it's a good game. Do I think it's a bad game? Not necessarily. Again, what I like is good enough to where my complaints are not really overshadowing. Actually, you know what? No, I do think it's a bad game. The awful handling, the blandness, and the fact that the speedless are so goddamn repetitive are enough to be like, it's so bland that it's actually bad. You know what? No, I do think that this is in fact a bad Need for Speed game. I've played other Need for Speed games which I would much rather prefer playing, like Hot Pursuit, 2010, like Need for Speed 1 Special Edition, Need for Speed 5, which was Porsche Unleashed. Hell, I've got Need for Speed Shift, and I'd much rather be playing that right now than this game. So those are, I guess, kind of my thoughts on the game as a whole. I mean, let me know what you guys think about it. Again, I'm sure a lot of you guys have already played this game, and in fact, probably have some thoughts to share. But with all that being said, though, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. And with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys either tomorrow or the next time I make a post-platinum review. But yeah, this is I guess really just a series with like more so a game review for trophy hunters by trophy hunters, because trophy wise this game is just really really boring. Like, let me just stop my car before I crash, because obviously I can't pause the game, which is also another thing I hate that I forgot to reiterate at the end as part of my summary. But holy crap, I have to do like, so the main thing you need to do is reach level 60 as a racer and level 60 as a cop, which means you have to do 60 of these like speedless. These three trophies are actually very easy to do and can be done in very little time. Buying 10 racer vehicles is just really annoying, only for the reasons that the racer career sucks ass. Um, Friendly Race and Buddy Bus are the only online trophies in the game, but you'll be fine. And a lot of these other trophies aren't as per going for that level 60. And the most difficult trophy in the game is Gold Master, earning 100 gold medals across, which is, I think, going to be the most frustrating part of the whole game. But anyway, like I said, I'll see you guys next time. Gonna end the review here. See you then.